I want to talk to you about how to automate customs compliance this year. I mean, if you are, whether you're shipping commercially or shipping personally, you want to really, if you have to deal with customs compliance, you want it to really automate everything so that you can save money and also make things efficiently, okay? So here is a compendium I want you to think about. Basically, when you think about custom compliance, I want you to think about a very complicated, it could be a complicated, potentially complicated process, okay? This is actually a complex hurdle for international businesses. But the cool thing is, if you are able to actually automate things, you can turn automation, you can turn actually custom compliance into an advantage. So automation really saves time and money. I mean, you are able, and also instills a layer of efficiency in your operations. Okay, and so as a business, you can leverage automation tools and customs brokers to achieve efficient and compliant trade. So it's not just about automating compliance, but also automating customs compliance, but also using using third parties such as customs brokers to actually understand how regulations work, but also take advantage of the regulations. Okay, so it's one of those things where when you are thinking about automating custom compliance, you want to really choose a service that helps you automate customs tasks, including pre-filled forms, HS code lookup, duty and task calculators, and also real-time tracking. Because if you are in an industry where you care about the real-time tracking, then yeah, Now, one thing for sure, when you think about internet users globally, you are looking at 5 to 6 billion users. Okay, so what happens here is that e-commerce and also offline commerce are going to explode like big time. Okay, we are speaking about trillions of dollars. Now, how are you going to take advantage of that? You got to really make sure that you are actually navigating customs compliance real fast. The funny thing is that even during COVID, e-commerce and also offline commerce, especially when it comes to shipping, wasn't really having any problem because people were still buying stuff from the internet anyway, were still buying stuff, and things were still being shipped. So you really have a lot of possibilities there. Okay, so when you think about the customs compliance process, think about a process that ensures goods shipped internationally follow legal and safety regulations. That's what customs officers care about. So when you think about actually automating customs compliance, you can actually reach out to a third party, such as, let's say, a customs compliance specialist, right? Because the whole thing is, you have a business to run, you have things to take care of, you have no time to actually go through the paperwork and really see what's right and what's not right. So this is where you actually rely on the expertise, the acumen of that specialist to help you out. So a customs compliance specialist helps you as a business navigate customs regulations and avoid delays or penalties. And some of those penalties can be really really expensive. I mean, they can be really big, and you don't want to have that. You want to always be on the right side of the law. So basically, when you think about customs compliance, you have certain pillars to pay attention to because authorities will just want to make sure that you are following the rules and that you know what you're doing, right? So you want to have a certain foundation that really solidifies your work, solidify your e-commerce business, also your offline business. So the pillars of customs compliance actually include accurate documentation. I'm going to put this on the screen because this is important. So accurate documentation, proper classification, duty payments, and record keeping. So I want you to I want you to remember this quartet of criteria. Okay. Again, I want to repeat: accuracy in the documentation. You want to have a classification, the proper classification. You want to make sure that you take care of duties, so duty payment, and also record keeping. So in terms of customs regulations, well, it really depends on the country you're exporting to. Okay, but overall, customs regulations are actually rules set by a destination country governing the import and export of goods, right? So customs actually, anytime you think about customs, you got to think about sovereign countries, right? If you're shipping within continental USA, not a problem. I mean, you don't have to deal with customs compliance because this is a sovereign country. But once you go from US to Canada, or even Mexico, or even Germany, or even Nigeria, or even China, then you are speaking about customs regulations. if you are thinking about automating customs compliance this year, it's important to understand that customs processes go through a certain let's say A to Z, a certain methodology, and through that methodology, you have to pay attention to something called custom clearance. So in the U.S., for instance, custom clearance actually is pretty straightforward. So to do customs clearance in the U.S., you need to submit detailed information about your shipment to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So CBP actually takes care of like a customs compliance in the states. And the thing is that you want to, but they require a certain type of paperwork, and they love it when you are really when you send things in a timely fashion. Don't wait until the last minute to actually contact CBP and ask them to actually take care of business. No, they don't like that. And by the way, CBP is part of DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Okay, so that's something that's good to know. And when it comes to automating customs compliance, you also got to think about the manual. So there is a customs compliance manual. So this is actually a company's internal guide for adhering to custom regulations. So your company must have a custom compliance manual, especially if you are shipping things ordinarily overseas. If you engage in this sort of international shipment all the time, you need to have a guideline, or let's say a set of guidelines to steer your employees and yourself, for that matter, in the right direction. Because the last thing you want to actually have authorities knocking on your business's door and asking questions. Okay, and so bottom line here is that you are able to save a lot of cash if you go through trade compliance. If you actually comply with trade regulations, you can save a lot of cash, especially if you engage with countries not on the list of not on the sanctioned list of OFAC. Okay, so trade compliance is really good because you are able to save money by avoiding fines, delays, and also product seizures. And the product seizures can be really sort of detrimental, especially if you are engaged in online shipping and your customers are waiting for the product, but the authorities, they have seized the products. So one thing for sure, I want to talk to you a little bit about the requirements. Okay, so when I speak about how to automate customs compliance, I want you to understand the fact that customs compliance overall has a big impact on your business. And it doesn't matter whether you have a small operation or a big enterprise. If you do not actually comply with authorities, with regulations, you are actually exposing yourself. Okay, and customs compliance involves adhering to a set of rules and regulations set forth by national governments and multinational authorities to regulate goods movement across borders. So for e-commerce businesses, mastering customs compliance, it's not just about avoiding penalties. Okay, because it goes way beyond that. Because basically, it's all about ensuring a smooth supply chain for your e-commerce operation, for your Shopify store, for your BigCommerce store, for your Big Cartel store, for your Magento store, and what have you. It's also about satisfying customer demand promptly. It's all about maintaining a brand's integrity against the risks of shipping illegal or unsafe goods. See, the whole thing is, if you ship unsafe or illegal goods or hazmat goods and you get caught, your ass might go to jail. I mean, I'm not even talking about financial penalties here. Your ass might go to jail. So you want to avoid that. So by leveraging customs automation tools, you as a business can ensure compliance with the appropriate customs documentation and valuation requirements, thus safeguarding against delays, fines, and also reputational damage. Okay, so it's important to have the right specialist to navigate the complex web of customs regulations. Okay, because the whole thing is the complexity of customs regulations, which includes everything from understanding export controls to calculating the correct duties, demands a thorough understanding from businesses engaged in international trade. Because if you are engaging in international trade, you got to have the right expertise. So automated solutions provide up-to-date access to trade regulations and free trade agreements, simplifying the process of complying with the varied requirements of different destination countries. Okay, this not only helps in mitigating the risk of non-compliance, but also optimizes operational efficiencies, making your business more agile and responsive to actually market changes. So This is kind of cool because it allows you to have a clear idea about what works and also what doesn't work. Okay, so basically, it's important to understand when you are thinking about automating customs compliance that you are promoting fair trade practices through compliance, because fair trade practices are kind of fundamental to ethical business operations, and they are strongly enforced by customs authorities worldwide. And automation tools promote fair trade practices by ensuring that your business complies with OFAC regulations and other countries' laws against the unfair trade practices. So that's an important element to think about. So when you think about automating customs compliance, you want to really pay attention to documentation. Documentation is going to save the day for you, especially if you are looking at it. You are looking at compliance from a scalable long-term point of view. Okay, so securing the appropriate customs documentation is kind of important if you want to fulfill your customs compliance requirements. Okay, and the cool thing is automated systems streamline the creation, management, and submission of necessary documents such as commercial invoices, packing list, and certificates of origin, especially when the customer or the end user requires such certificate of origin. So now, when I speak about efficiency, you are able to go through it to meet the demand for speed and accuracy in today's fast-paced trade environment, but also you are able to ensure that your business remains compliant with the evolving documentation requirements of certain customs brokers and authorities. And that's what that you got to have that. Otherwise, you are toast. Okay. One thing for sure you need to really remember is that the law changes all the time, and so the law is actually is subject to let's say timing, is subject to geography, is subject to demographics, because there are some customs regulations that apply to certain niches. Okay, for instance, customs regulations for alcohol products are not the same thing for customs regulations for ammunition. So if you and by the way, don't actually go through don't actually try to ship ammunition or hazmats for that matter. Okay, but I just want to give you a point that I was making a point, right? And my point was that the authorities are smart enough to tailor the laws based on the demographics they want to go after, or they want to cover, right? It's all, or even not just the demographics, but also the products and services that they want to target. So that's an important element to think about. If you want to automate customs compliance this year, you might want to think a little bit about training. I mean, training is going to save you. Training might be a little slow at the beginning. You might think that you are actually spending money for nothing, but in the end, you are going to gain big time, big time. Okay, let me explain to you. See, the whole thing is to navigate the intricacies of customs and trade compliance easily. You must invest in compliance training for your employees. I mean, how do you expect your employees to actually be efficient if they have no idea how to really deal with certain things, right? So you want to really make sure that you are acclimating your employees with laws, with regulations. And but again, it doesn't have to be something 10 years ago. It has to be something up to date, okay? And so the best instructors in the industry offer insights into the latest regulations, procedures, and best practices, including the handling of additional requirements for exporting to other receiving countries. I mean, there are some specialists, some instructors who focus on specific geographies. For instance, you can have an instructor who will help you with trade compliance training when it comes to Africa, for instance, or when it comes to Europe, or when it comes to Latin America, or when it comes to Asia. So every instructor will have its his or her specialty. Okay, so when you have knowledge around trade compliance, you are able to stay ahead of compliance challenges, minimizing the risk of fines and criminal charges associated with non-compliance. And so it's important to consider customs brokers in that equation because they have a big role in ensuring compliance. So customs brokers actually serve as a vital link between businesses and customs authorities, offering expertise in the complex requirements of international trade. So by actually collaborating with a knowledgeable customs brokerage, what happens here is that you are able to benefit from their expertise in navigating trade regulations, securing the correct documentation, and ensuring that actually goods are valued and classified correctly, right? You have to really make sure that you have this sort of duality. Goods are valued, so proper valuation and correct classification. So when you partner with a customs expert, you are able to streamline the customs process, okay? And so reducing the likelihood of audit complications by a national government, and also you are able to enhance overall supply chain efficiency, and that's going to help you down the road. So let me talk to you about the method here. So basically, how do you automate customs compliance with, like this year, you can automate customs compliance with any shipping partner in the industry. Okay. Now, for an e-commerce business owner, or even for brick and mortar commerce owners, navigating the complexities of international shipping can really be a major headache. So, customs compliance with its ever changing regulations and mountains of paperwork is actually a usual suspect. So, the thing is, if you are able to automate this process, you are able to free up your valuable time and resources, right? So, you're able to, for instance, so when it comes to partnering with a third party shipping company, you are able to automate customs compliance through automated customs forms, integrated HS code lookup, duty and task calculator, real time tracking. Okay, those are important elements. And so when I speak about automated customs forms, you are basically saying goodbye to manually filling out endless forms. So you have pre-filled customs declarations with accurate product information that really ensure compliance and speed up the clearance process. So no more delays or frustration. So that's kind of cool. Also, you have integrate when you have integrated HS code lookup in that when your shipping partner actually offers that, basically there's no more need to become a customs classification expert. So you have the built-in HS code lookup tool that helps you identify the correct code for your products, eliminating the risk of misclassification and potential fines. What about duty and tax calculator? Well, you are able to get instant quotes for import duties and taxes on your shipments. And this transparency allows you to factor this cost into your pricing strategy and avoid actually any surprises for your customers. So that's really good from a scalability point of view. Fantastic. You also have a real-time tracking, so you can track your shipments every step of the way, including customs clearance status. So this peace of mind lets you focus on growing your business while keeping your customers informed, right? So long story short, by actually having the right automation in terms of customs compliance, you're able to reduce the risk of errors, save time, boost efficiency, and most importantly, gain peace of mind. And those are actually like those four elements are really adding a lot of value to your life. So, what's the culmination here? In today's conversation, I spoke to you about how to automate customs compliance. I gave you the compendium, the requirements, the method, and now the culmination. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.